the most disturbing thing in these photos isn't the image, but the budget behind it. In 10 stops, we'll decode how laws, labels, and austerity filled long halls, tied tiny wrists, and taught silence as survival. The scenes look medieval, yet the logic is modern. You'll see how a state's promise to know best can become a warehouse plan when families are poor, when disability is feared, and when foster care barely exists. Stay through the list. Each picture answers one question and raises two more. Who paid? Who saved? And who vanished? Number 1, Victorian Silent Meal Hall. This image captures a hall where the spoons move, but voices don't. Silence isn't virtue here. It's a price cut. Meals ran like a shift change because the poor law treated poverty as a fault. Children became entries on a ledger, not pupils in a home. Bells set the pace. Ward matrons stood at the ends. Tokens swapped for obedience, not comfort. Fixed seats aimed forward kept eyes and mouths in line. Staff scanned a room at once, like guards on a catwalk. Talk was punished as idleness. Movement meant rule-breaking. Quiet meant lower wages, fewer hands, tighter control. Handbooks codified it. Silence at table. Segregate by age. Keep order with routine, not attention. Many here were social orphans, with parents alive but broke or ill, captured by policy rather than death. So the hush isn't custom. It's budget logic made furniture. From quiet tables to enclosed cells, the discipline would harden. Number 2, the 1920s punishment cages. This image captures a wire box in a nursery. A child sits inside, knees tight. It looks like a zoo crate, but it was sold as care. Staff called it safety and behavioral correction. In crowded wards, fewer hands meant devices did the watching. The cage set a border. Movement stopped on contact. Manuals from the era treated confinement as routine, like a crib with locks and eugenic labels. Feeble-minded. Stamped kids as permanent risks. Budgets cut staff-to-child ratios, so control replaced attention. Pseudoscience offered cover. If a child carried a stigmatized tag, restraint read as treatment. The wire walls answered a money problem and a mindset, turning time into compliance. So this crate was not an odd relic. It was a tool, a policy in metal. Born from austerity plus stigma, it kept order cheap and steady. When cages left nurseries, railings lined long rows of cribs. Number 3, Romanian crib rows of 1989. This image captures cribs in a straight run. Blankets look tidy, faces don't move. The frame keeps going as if the room extends off stage. These were social orphans. Parents lived, but poverty, pressure, and bad advice pushed infants into state care. Beds multiplied while family aid thinned. The policy legacy grew buildings and staff rosters, yet starved the one thing that matters early: steady adult attention. The Bucharest Early Intervention Project tested that logic. Researchers followed infants in institutions, then moved some into foster homes. Before age 2, those placements showed gains in IQ and motor skills, pointing to the effect of care, not fate. Later scans linked longer institutional time with reduced white matter, the brain's wiring. So the rows tell a budget truth. Buying cribs is simple. Backing families is hard. The cost shows up in development. Feeding came next, fast, efficient, and stripped of touch. Number 4, the feeding funnel. This image captures a tilted funnel over a small mouth. Liquid moves fast, the hands stay down. Staff called it efficient. In wards with many infants, seconds mattered. The tool set a pace like a spout on an assembly line. Quick in, next child, repeat. But speed cut the moments that build skill. No spoon to grip, little jaw work, sparse eye contact. Those tiny acts train mouth muscles, map sound to face, and seed early speech. Manuals from large institutions even set targets for rapid feeds, trimming labor while trimming practice. Research on orality and motor growth ties these small drills to later language. Work on deprivation links thin interaction to changes in brain wiring, the white matter that carries signals. Here's the payoff. The funnel saved time and stole practice. Care turned into throughput. When bombs fell, rows moved underground, but the logic did not change. Number 5. World War II Bomb Shelter Dormitory. This image captures bunk beds under poured concrete. Small coats hang like flags. War forced the move, but not the model of care. Shelters were framed as rescue. Budgets told another story. Money flowed to munitions and transport, while childcare leaned on charity drives and rationed rations. Safety meant walls and ceilings, not staff time. Evacuation and sheltering prized survival first. Children slept in mass dorms with fewer carers and stricter rules. Lights out on schedule. Whispered talk cut short. Physical safety rose, while attachment thinned. Civil defense funding outpaced social services. The trade-offs showed up fast. Crowded rooms meant more coughs, more shared colds, and blunt tools for trauma. A quiet child passed as stable. Number 6. Blank-faced toddlers in line. This image captures toddlers standing shoulder to shoulder. No toys, no chatter. The line is the lesson, and the lesson is stillness. Routine here was praised as therapy, but the flat faces hint at trained quiet, not ease. When days run on cues and whistles, children learn to wait, not to wonder. Compliance drills replaced play. Hands by sides meant fewer scraps and faster head counts, but also fewer chances for joint attention. The shared glance that grows language. With no turn-taking games, executive skills stall. Fewer questions get asked, fewer words get tried. Long-term studies found that children placed in families earlier showed stronger emotional control and better social growth. In institutions, observers recorded flat affect and looping, self-soothing motions. The contrast points to input, not destiny. Number 7. Outdoor bathing trough. This image captures a 1900s outdoor bathing trough. A hose runs cold. Children stand in line, shoulders tight, waiting their turn. The scene reads rustic, but the reason is systemic. Shared baths cut equipment, water, and time. One trough replaced dozens of tubs, and one worker moved the queue. Clean became a process, not a moment of care. Communal washing lowered per-child costs while raising risks. Skin infections spread faster. Privacy vanished. Bodies were handled like parts on a bench, rinsed and sent on. The approach, born in rules for poorhouses and early orphanages, treated hygiene as a batch task. Budget sheets favored bulk solutions. One tap, one trough, long lines, over slow, one-to-one care. Number 8. Tied to bed frames ward. This image captures thin straps on thin wrists. Beds line the ward like harnesses. The room reads orderly, but the order comes from restraint. Staff framed the ties as protection from falls or self-harm. Families rarely saw the second layer, the chemical quiet that came with pills at dusk. Understaffed shifts leaned on straps and sedatives to keep stillness when hands ran short. Reports from Eastern European institutions described how disability stigma fed this. A child tagged incapacitated triggered restrictive care. Therapy slots vanished. Restraint took their place. Oversight gaps let routines harden, so belts and bedside syringes stood in for support. Think of it like a theater set. Neat rows up front, a rig of pulleys hidden in the rafters. The scene works, but not for the actor on stage. Number 9. Workhouse orphan lineup. This image captures boots aligned and eyes forward. A foreman counts, a caregiver does not. The lineup sold order as training for life. It trained children to meet quotas and keep quiet. They learned timing, not trust. They learned to pass inspection, not to belong. Industrial-era workhouses merged welfare with labor drill. Uniforms signaled rank and duty. Daily task lists fixed the tempo: rise, march, work, wash. Inspections prized clean seams and straight backs, like a factory check on parts. The aim was readiness for low-wage roles, not a return to family life. Accounting sealed it. Cost per head turned care into units, making neat lines a budget tool. Heads were easy to tally, needs were not. The foreman's gaze made them visible to counters and invisible as children. Number 10. The isolation box. This image captures a toddler behind a small window. The room is clean, tight, and still. Hours feel like days when the only view is a square of light. Staff framed it as quarantine or a cool-down space. Both labels trimmed labor. One child, 0 staff time. A door did the watching that a person could not. Medical words blended with behavior control. A cough became a pretext. So did crying, rocking, or noise. Disabled children tagged as disruptive-faced longer spells, as if quiet proved progress. The disturbing part isn't only the image, it's the math behind it. Labels and ledgers that priced obedience over attachment, turning care into counts and faces into units on a page. If you want that flipped, let budgets follow children. Share this. Support family-based care groups in your area. Ask how your city funds kids in crisis, and whether the dollars track beds or households. Your voice moves policy like a hand on a switch.